after last week's ride with Tancho, I got some good feedback. I had some more ideas about what maybe we needed to work on, how he was progressing, and what I should try in between last ride and this ride, and what to try during this ride. So the last ride was just, basically we were working on a straight line. I sort of gave him his head. I wanted to see how he was feeling about moving forward, and just sort of experiment with what makes him get jiggy, what makes him get reactive, what gets me those moments, and then test out those little steering bits here and there. And we had some ideas. I got feedback about what might be causing those reactive moments where he spins around, backs up, doesn't want to steer. So what I did during the week was I checked in with his groundwork, which is a great thing to do with any horse, with any problem really, or even if you're having no problems, just seeing, is it actually causing him pain to get that back leg crossing underneath him? Is there something about bending or curving or maneuvering that's problematic for him? There are earlier videos where you can see me doing some of that basic work with him, and some lunging, and basically that went so well that I sort of made some assumptions that he had that foundation, and I should not have done that, because once I pressed a little harder on his groundwork, I found that there was a big gap there, where when I pressed a little harder on those yielding exercises, like when I put my hand on his side and I was asking him to move over, he pushed back and he actually swung violently towards me. And when I did exercises trying to flex his neck around, the vet did that flex test I've mentioned, so we know there's no injury in his neck. But when I was trying to get him to just yield to pressure in a flex test, he was pulling. So there's different gaps in his foundation of training that were actually coming back to bite us when I was going ahead without having really thoroughly explored that. So we spent the week doing some groundwork where I just really got into those a little bit, dug into that, getting him to yield more, getting him to give more. So what you see me starting with here is just a basic give to the bridle exercise. I'm not worrying about what he's doing with his feet for a minute. It's just, I'm doing that sort of Morse code on my ring finger, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then as soon as he turns towards me, just enough that I can see that eye on the side I'm taking with, I release. And you'll see it starts out more dramatic, where you can see the jiggle, 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 and when he gives to me, I'm really dropping that rein forward. Just really fine-tuning him, recalibrating him to a more gentle contact, saying, I'm going to give you just this little bit, but I'm going to keep doing it till you give me a little bit. Getting him to just turn his nose, convincing him I don't need that big ol' snap around, that big spin. I don't need this drama you've been giving me. I just want to take a little and I want you to give a little. So I start there, and then you'll see me start to quiet that signal as he starts to respond to it better, and I'll start to add inside leg and turn that. You see initially he was kind of spinning and pulling and he wasn't happy about it, but as he starts to just tilt that nose into the rein cue, I'll start to add inside leg and turn these into little circles. Still doing lots of give and take. I'll circle a couple times one way, and when it gets really nice for a second, I will stop and circle the other way. You can see I'm still doing a pretty dramatic drop because I really want that release to be noticeable to him. He is kind of used to neck reining, but I'm not going to deal with that right now because our problem is with contact and with pressure. And so I'm really just sort of ignoring the whole neck reining portion. He is a lot more relaxed though. You'll see there's less of the tail swishing. He's not prancing. He is getting back into the whole habit of ridden work in general. I think the groundwork is helping a lot. His anxiety's relaxing some. Honey is still yelling at him nonstop the whole time we're working. But while we work up in this barn area, he seems sort of okay with focusing on me. He's like, well, I can hear her, but she's there and she'll get over it. You'll see later I'll ride him off screen, and I'll cut that part because it's very boring. But I do take him on a little loop around the pasture just to start stretching that rubber band of their of their attachment and his confidence to be on his own. And he does call back to her during that time that we're away, and he does get a little jiggy and heats up a little bit because he's nervous, and that's fine. I let him lope a little down at the bottom of the hill when we're away from her. But while we're up here, he's actually pretty chill now. He's gotten a lot better. So you can see he's actually, instead of nothing, nothing spin, we're starting to smooth out into circles now. He's starting to give to my leg by circling and caving that rib cage away from me a little bit. He's giving to the rein by just tilting his nose without feeling the need to cave in all the way. And then I'm going to turn those gentle circles into some serpentines to practice changing that bend. And that'll upset him just a little when I do that. You'll see him kind of snap his nose up a little more often. Whenever I change bend, he kind of pops his nose a little at the change of contact. It's like just as he settles into one thing, I want to change it. He's like, no, I just got used to this. But it is a huge improvement. So we're going to keep doing the groundwork, and we're going to keep doing this. You see a lot less fussing now. It's basically renegotiating with him what I expect when I give him contact, and getting him to rethink what he should be expecting when he feels contact. Because, again, we have some only limited knowledge about how he was ridden before, but it may be that he was ridden with either heavy hands, and so he feels contact and he expects more, he expects something intense. He expects a different kind of bit. He expects something crazy. Or he's just been neck reined, and so when he feels pressure, he expects that he's in trouble. Like, we don't know. It could be anything. But so we're negotiating our personal relationship with the equipment, with the process, with riding. And I'm telling him what I expect from him. I'm saying, this is my cue. This is what I want from you when I give you this cue. And we're figuring each other out, and it's getting better. And that's a big part of him getting calmer too, is knowing what to expect. It makes a horse very nervous when they feel like they don't have all the right answers, when they feel stressed out, when you're putting pressure on them and they don't know how to relieve that pressure, whether it's bit pressure, leg pressure, signaling them with a lunge whip, whatever it is. They get very stressed out when they don't feel like they have an answer to offer you. So as he starts to learn what I'm expecting of him, he's going to relax a lot more. And I fixed my stirrups this time. Yay. I thought of it before I got on this time. And he's gaining weight. He used to have, you could see his ribs here and there, but that's almost better. You can still, depending how he bends, you can see his ribs a little bit, but we've got him on some weight gainer food. He's eating grass in the pasture, hay, obviously, a little alfalfa. He's muscling up nicely. He's not just putting fat on top. He's actually gaining muscle as he gains weight, because he does a lot of running around when he's turned out, and because we have been doing this sort of rehab exercise with him. So he's gaining muscle, so he's actually gaining healthy weight. So there we go, setting off on that walkabout, and I'm going to take him all the way. You can see that fence line I'm heading towards. We go all the way around it, and here we come back up the hill. You can see the last of that little bit of hot jigginess I was talking about. Just at the very, very bottom of this very long hill route we were just on, he loped, and not an out of control gallop or anything, but just he had a little lope, and I let him, because it'll make him more nervous if I try to hold him back, so I let him run along the bottom. But what I don't want to do is let him run home, because that's a bad habit. So I did make him walk up the hill. I actually made him serpentine up the hill, just to really reinforce that idea of not rushing home. The road home is not a fast road. It is a road full of loops and final exercises. Don't get too excited about it. He's fussing a little because he's like, I want to be done. Home is so close. Yeah, see that there's that fussing, so I made him go out, out, out. I got after him a little with that inside leg because now we know he can do better. That was that old problem that we saw last week that he was getting a little into again because he was getting anxious about getting done. So I laid into him a little and fixed it. So it's like, I was a little afraid to get after him, I think, before, because we didn't know if it was a pain problem or a weakness problem or what was going on. But now that I know what is going on with him, and now that I know he understands what I expect from him, I can sort of push on certain things a little more and expect a little more from him. And he responds, as you just saw, like he started to cut that off. Basically, when he's doing that spin and back up, it's a really extreme case of cutting corners, of just diving in. And now I know that I can get after him for that. He knows better, he's capable of doing better, and he'll respond if I just get after him with my inside leg. And he's fine. His girlfriend's there, he's happy to see her. We'll go get some cookies. And he's a good boy, and he's doing a lot better, so much better. Really proud of him.